Welcome back to another episode of the Event Exchange brought to you by EMC Meetings and Events. And today we're going to be talking about the ROI of human to human experience and how do we bring people together to have a great time, but also drive the business outcomes. So joined again today with Jody Wallace, CEO of EMC Meetings and Events. And so Jody, tell us a little bit, why does human experience matter when we think about events and kind of how the world has evolved and why there's so much more importance on that today?
Well, you've hit my favorite topic, so thank you. Glad I'm here. It's all about human connection. We are just wired that way as people, and without it, we're really lost. And all of this technology out there today and all, AI today and everything we do, it just prevents us in some ways from connecting. It's kind of taken that away. And I think we're right now starved to have that back. And COVID, of course, didn't help us, right?
Sure.
And I think we realized during that time frame, or realize as even a society today with our own children, that human connection is part of our life's journey. And without it, we're not progressing, right? We're not satisfied. And that comes right into our events as well. And I know we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, and I think something that gets lost a lot of times, we've talked about all the different stakeholders within, you've got finance who's looking at profitability of events. Where does it fall in with the budget of the organization? Sales leaders who are just numbers driven. Where's the pipeline? Where's the sales? What are conversions? Marketing is talking about brand and exposure and driving those, pipeline and leads, where if we break it down so simply, there's no human in any of that at all. So
that's funny.
Why, I guess, do you intermix in the context and lens of events that meet all those stakeholder needs? Where does the human experience come into that? And why is it so critical to meet the needs of all three of those stakeholders? Because you need humans to drive sales. We've talked extensively about we're in a trust recession, and events and the face-to-face really helps combat that trust recession. So why do more organizations need to focus on events and that human to human to drive their business?
Mm-hmm. Great question. I mean, we go back to just years back. The saying was, people like working with people they like. Connection.
Yeah,
right?
People buy from people.
People buy from people. And there's been many trends done that says the number one reason people go to an event or return to an event is the connections they made. And when we go back to knowing that's how we're wired, right? Then we need to ensure we're instilling the connection experience in our events. So when we're thinking about the entire experience, the journey of the human, right? We have to think of it that way at our events.
Yeah.
Because there are touch points and times where people want to connect. That's why we do networking events. Or we do one-on-one, table discussions. And the more, by the way, we do those, it's been proven, the happier or the more connected people feel at your event. And when people feel connected and they have that experience, they're more likely to buy from you because they trust you now. You've instilled trust in them.
Yeah.
I came to this event, I felt important. I felt listened to. I shared, because it's an exchange, human connection, right? It's just not one-sided. And putting these pieces of connection into your program are critical to the program's success. If everyone's sitting in a room listening to a speaker, it's not going to be a good human connection experience. Right. And there's so much happening on making the experience elevated. There's things like AI matching. I don't know if you've heard of that. And I happen to like that one because literally I could be sitting at a table without realizing that everyone at the table probably has a like I have, or maybe there is space to go where there's a discussion going on about a topic I like, connecting people with their likes, right? So so technology can help us where I think we thought, wow, it's too much, and we've kind of um, um, lost a little bit of our human connection. It does help us bring us all back together, right? So I think technology is a good thing if we use it the right way.
If it enhances the human experience.
Exactly. And so if we know that the number one reason people go to an event, unless they're told they have to, but and the reason we tell them they have to, by the way, is because we want them to have human connection and
Right.
grow from each other
Yeah.
or learn from others. So again, it all goes back to how we're wired.
I mean, you and I met at an event. We connected at a program.
Yes, we did.
We
We
did.
did.
So what does that look like in practice? So we know we need it. We've talked a little bit about how technology can enhance that human experience. So how do you work with clients, EMC meetings work with clients to bring that human connection at events?
Yeah. So we map it for clients. I think that's one of our strengths. I was on a call the other day with VP of marketing, and I said, okay, we have the vision. We've curated your event. Let's do an attendee experience mapping. What? And I said, yes, how are we connecting? And oftentimes, right, it's through the start of technology, registration.
Yep.
But then how are we connecting them at the event together? What does it look like when they arrive into a cocktail reception, right? And what are we doing in the reception to promote the connections? Or what's in our programming that's going to make the connection happen? I'll give a personal example that recently happened to me. So we had one of our partners wanted me to come to their event, and hey, busy schedules, time is value. And I finally said, all right, I will go. And I'm so glad I went. And you know why I'm so glad I went? Because they had put into their program purposefully round table discussions with peers. So I spent over 2.5 days, probably 8 hours of my time, literally in human connection experience peer to peer. I walked away not only learning, but giving, right?
Right.
And what did I say when I saw him the other day? I said, Michael, that was the best event I've ever been to. I can't wait to go to the next. And it strengthened our partnership. Like it'll strengthen the partnership of sales with prospects or new clients, right? When they are connecting, then they're, that's when your brand comes together. That's when your events make the deals happen. It's all through connection. And again, I'm sure we'll talk more about this trust recession we're in, but we've lost a little bit of that along the way because we got so focused on the technology.
Yeah, I think we stopped using it to, like I said, enhance that experience. And, not as many people are sending things through the mail anymore, or picking up the phone and having a conversation, or being intentional with their time when they go to events to meet other people. I don't know that enough shows build in white space and intentionality for people to make those connections. And we sometimes get lost in the speakers and the content and not giving people time to actually meet with each other and make it less serendipitous and more intentional.
Yeah. Well, I think technology makes it like a self, like it's just you and the technology, right? It's not you and another human. Now, there may be another human on the other side, but it's not the same type of, when you were in a room together, there's this energy that happens. Right. Technology doesn't have that energy. So the energy is key to building trust in a relationship. And many of my newer employees, I'll say, can you pick up the phone and call me? And they're like, you want me to call you? I do. Yes, let's talk this through. We've been emailing back and forth for 20 minutes. And then we get on a call, and after probably, I don't know, a couple of weeks, can I call you? Can I call you? Because they're starting to realize, and I know it's a phone connection, but it's still a one-on-one.
Right.
Now imagine now when we're connecting, because we've been on tech, now we're on phone, and all of that leads to a better connection one-on-one human. So Zoom calls are good because we can see each other and we can get to know each other. Remember when, do you remember when Zoom first came out during COVID and everyone had their cameras off?
Yes.
Like, you want me to turn my camera on? You want me to look at you while I'm on the
Well, you
phone?
need so many of the nonverbals are part of
I
communications.
don't look good. Now it's like, how come your camera's not on? We'll wait, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we do not want to be on a Zoom call anymore without our cameras on.
Yeah.
And that was something to come over at first, but it's because I want to see you if I talk to you.
Yeah.
And then when we're in a room together, I want that energy of that connection with you. So it's critical for the success of a program. Again, the number one reason people have success or are happy or want to return is because they felt good about being at your event. They made human connections.
Yeah, I read a book recently called Flourish, and it was all about how to enrich your lives and flourish in your life. And the entire book just focused on community and people. And if you look at the blue zones and the people that live the longest, they
Yes.
all have community and human connection.
Yeah, we're wired that way. We're tribes, right? We came from tribes, right? All of us. But so it just if we go back to the the start of mankind, it's always been about the energy of the connection.
Yeah, and I think we see the businesses that are kind of thriving in this trust recessions are the ones who are investing in that human experience externally and internally. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys do a lot of work with incentive programs
Yes.
and the importance of that connection and human connection of your top performers internally is equally as important as the human connection with your prospects and your customers
Yeah.
that drive those outcomes. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all related.
Yeah, just to be an incentive group where you're bringing like people together into a room. These are people that are being rewarded because the company's rewarding them for bringing the business into the business. And here they are together, and many times they bring a guest, and just to watch, like just how we're making them feel oh so special on purpose, right? And they're just in a room feeling important, feeling good about themselves. Their significant other or guest understands how hard they've worked to get this. It's just so much happens dynamically at events like that. Just like I was saying in my peer-to-peer event. I'm still talking to the people I met around that table, just sharing ideas and continuing that community of connection.
Okay.
Yeah, as my word I use, what? Magical? It's magic.
And I think the common denominator, having been to a number of incentive programs and talking to top sales leaders at any organization across any industry, the one thing they all have in common is they go the little bit extra mile to get to know the person they're talking to or selling to. And that makes all the difference in why they're top performers. They're picking up the phone, they're going to the events, they're in the offices, and they see the other end as a human and not a sale.
Yeah. Yeah, the other, when we do incentive programs too, we really do encourage the leadership also to make some of those, you're seeing your top winners, they're in a room, connect with them because I see it. Oh my God, the CEO just came up and talked to me.
Yeah.
And so he should. You're a big, you're here because, you've done amazing things for the company. But, let's not forget that connection too, right? It's, all being in the room together because we all got there together, right? The leaders with the team. And when you see the magic, and I love that word, and you see the excitement of the connections together, it's you can't buy that.
I've walked out of many rooms and have said, "Oh man, did you feel the energy in that room?" And I've never hung up a virtual meeting and been like, "Oh, did you feel the energy on that Teams call?"
No, you probably said something like, I could tell so and so wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. So, as we think about events and designing better events for human experience, where do you start? Like, what are some small things that CMOs and events managers should think about to enhance the human experience at their programs?
Well, first of all, script it out, really script out the journey. So you see the importance of those touch points and you give enough time. I've seen too often we're in a networking reception and you can't even hear each other because the music's so loud. So that's kind of defeating the point of the connection, right?
Exactly.
Listening to music. If you want a headliner concert, that's different, right? You're connecting with the band, the talent. But it's allowing people that time together and setting up and making enough time. When I was recently at a program and I was talking to the same one I was at when we did the peer-to-peer, I wonder what book he must have read because he had it down. They created all of this unique spaces as well, different type of spaces, like sitting like this, in an environment, listening to a speaker instead of just sitting in rows of chairs, just so the environment was conducive to more connection. And also giving like he gave ample time outside. Hey, we're going to have breaks outside, but they're going to be an hour and a half. So you can return phone calls or connect and no one left to go return a phone call that I saw. Everyone was outside, sitting outside in the air, talking, continuing the conversation of the speaker and what they learned and sharing or just talking to each other. Those are spaces that where people connect, not listening to a speaker, right?
Yeah. I think even little things like what you name your programs. So, is it a forum that tells me people are sharing versus a summit where someone might speak at you and exchange or connect? So, even the terminology on what you're naming and calling your programs, the same. I've been to events where they intentionally start with a keynote or a talk before the opening reception to give people something to talk about. How you set up your room, like you're saying right now, there's small pods of chairs as opposed to if I walk into a room that's all classroom,
Right.
I know I'm not going to be speaking to anyone. I'm only listening and consuming. So there's some small things that are very intentional that you can do for the environment of your events just to get that connection and human to human interaction going.
So spend connection people thought process, I've said that right, when you're designing your program. And we do, well, because I'm so passionate about it, I'm always, let's do the attendee journey. Let's make sure we're hitting those touch points of connection. And it's just so important,
Exactly. And what's your famous saying that when we bring people together and you tell your clients what happens with events?
When events are brighter, companies are stronger.
That's all the time we have today. We'll see you next time.